Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Built Like This podcast. I am your host Maxine and we're on episode 300. Oh, wrong one, hold on.
We did it, girl.
Oh my goodness, we're here. Yes, and that's it. That's all I have for you. Because I do not have I don't subscribe to the typical things in life, okay? Meaning just because we're in episode 300 doesn't mean I'm gonna have merch available all of a sudden or, giveaways. No. Episode 310, maybe. But, I don't like to put too much pressure on myself, I don't like to add more anxiety than necessary. What I do want to say is thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for being a listener for 300 episodes now. And it's really been more than 300, technically, if you count the Podmas episodes, which are 12 mini episodes daily from December 12th. And I started that about 2 years ago now. So adding all that together, I've been potting. I've been potting for a while, massa. I've been doing this for a little while now, and I am not stopping anytime soon. It really goes up from here. It only goes up from here. I'm so excited that I finally took this podcast to YouTube, the YouTube streets. So gaining some traction there has been so satisfying. I'm glad that I have a content manager now, so shout out to him. And it's just been moving and grooving. So eventually, yes, we will have all of the quote unquote podcast things like merch, but I'm not putting pressure on myself. It'll happen when it happens. I'm just getting everything situated in my life. And what I want to say, I kind of had a revelation while I was on my walk earlier today. I've been a part of this walking group for almost 2 years now, where we literally just go out for walks in the downtown Houston area. And I found her through Instagram. I think I just was scrolling through Instagram and I came across her content and I thought it was just super cool. And I was like, you know what? Why not? I'm the type of person I could go anywhere by myself, so I didn't really need to ask anyone to come with me. And I could spark up a conversation with a stranger pretty easily. I could kind of blend in anywhere pretty much. So I've been walking with this group of people whom I have become familiar with over the time that I've been walking with them. And it's just been great, very relaxing. It allows for you to kind of soothe into the evening of the day and just kind of sit in gratitude. Yada, yada, yada. So as I was walking, I was thinking about how prior to me having a second job, I've come on here talking just so stressed about just life and making ends meet or feeling like I'm chasing something or feeling inadequate, right? Because, I'm at this age and I don't have this or I don't have that. Just putting a lot of pressure on myself. And always getting mad at not meeting this financial goal or that financial goal, or just not being pleased with what I see in my bank account, yada, yada, yada. And I would go on YouTube and I would tirelessly search for ways to be financially independent or financially sound and how to be financially literate and, ways you can manifest wealth. I was literally going through video after video, whether it was from TikTok, Instagram Reel, different content creators who were focused on just money and money mindset and just trying to find some relief. And I kept running across content that would kind of victim blame the person who is struggling financially, the person who has a quote unquote good job, but is still trying to make ends meet. And the constant response or the constant solution would be, oh, do you have a budget? Here's my budget template. Or, maybe if you don't go to Starbucks, you could have enough money to pay this bill or pay down this credit card debt. All of these things that just like they always find a way to make you feel like crap. When no, a lot of times people have to make tricky financial decisions in order to make it through the next 2 weeks. Like that is pretty normal in this day and age, even prior to this day and age, prior to this current inflation. We've always experienced some level of inflation, some level of financial scarcity. So this is nothing new. So I say all this to say, I think it's very disheartening when we go on these sites or these platforms seeking for some type of advice, and yet the advice always finds a way to point the blame on you. I remember watching something and they'll say like, your life is the way it is because of you. And look, I think on the surface, sure, but I think ultimately it's about recognizing, no, there are systems literally built against you, and it's up to you to continue to navigate and figure out ways to work around the system for your benefit that's hopefully legal, and keep on doing that to sustain and hopefully thrive in the world that you have. I feel like I'm rambling. The point is, I will always get those type of responses, or did you budget, or all this bullshit. It's like, yes, yet I still don't have enough left over. It's not about, and I also heard people say, there's different YouTubes I will watch, like, budgeting on low income. And it's like, you could budget your ass off. You still have a negative $500 in your checkings account. What are we talking about? Like, no, the only remedy here is earning more money, right? The only way to get out of this hole is to increase your income and have that increase be a steady stream of additional income. So I'm saying all this to say the depression or the bouts of depression that I would have from time to time, especially like certain calendar days, I have not been experiencing that anymore recently because of my additional steady stream of income. And to God be the glory. Like, seriously, to God be the glory. Like, I really, I know it's been like a little bit of an adjustment, of course, working literally every day. But finally, I am not only surviving, but I'm getting to the point of thriving. Now, I'm not saying I'm like, big pimping type. No, not yet. But I'm to a point where I see the light. I'm walking towards the light. The light is shining on my face. Oh, it's the sun. Oh, the sun feels so good. And it's sunny still. So, it's just been so good, honestly. Just like having enough to pay your bills and still have money left over to, to put in my fun account, or to put towards this debt for my additional pay down, right? It's really so relieving. So I say all this to say, don't listen. And look, I'm not saying budgeting is not effective. Sure, it is. And it's effective to really write down all of your expenses and see where you're falling short, or, if you're aware of this being pulled from your account or that account. And also having multiple bank accounts, like that's something that I had to really focus on recently. Like I had multiple bank accounts, but I needed just more of a set plan to pull from that account for this bill and the other account for that bill, so that neither account feels completely depleted or is completely depleted. Anyway, I say all this to say, we sometimes like to say dismissive things to people when they're going through a hard time or when they're feeling hopeless, right? And it's not about, honestly, no pill could have helped this. Remember, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to be on Medicaid. Like, I was kind of going through it mentally at some point, and maybe it showed through different episodes. But I just needed more money. I just needed more money. Okay? I just needed another check every other week. Shit, at least every week will be even better. But I needed another check. And when I say every week, I mean every week of that full amount, not every week half. And honestly, I'm even at the point where I could fit in another job if I wanted to, a remote one. That'll be even better. Whew. But anyway, that could be in the works. I'm looking out, honestly. But nonetheless, I just needed more money. And I could only count on, oh, can I get X? I could only count on that for so long, right? You could only ask your partner to, give you X amount of money for so long. Eventually, it's like, okay, nigga, I don't want to keep on asking, because I don't ever want to come off like a burden to anyone, one. And also, that's not a steady stream of income where it's steady, or, it's just, you want to count on a check to come in every 15th, every last of the month, X, Y, and Z. And anyway, child, I just needed more money. So I say all this to say, it's not about being depressed. Like, depression isn't real at this point. I think sometimes depression is definitely a real thing. And I think sometimes I go through that. Well, that's a whole different episode. But I think ultimately, when depression hits, it has a lot to do with your financial circumstances, with your life circumstances. But focus on finances, it can feel very depressing when you can't make this expense, or when you can't go out on this night out. And it's like, it's not about being spoiled and not being able to say no to yourself. No, it's about not being able to afford. Like, I don't ever want to not afford anything in life, meaning, aside from like super luxurious things, which even then, sure, I may not be able to pay it at a whim in the moment, but eventually I will be able to, right? I could save up for that cost, right? If I want to get that bag, that's $300. I may not be able to spend that $300 right now, but give me a month and I will. Give me a month and I will. I just gotta sort some things out, put that money over here, put that other money over there. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's not about depression. It's just you're broke. That's it. If you're feeling depressed, it's because you're broke. And I wish someone would have said that to me. I wish someone would have been like, look, stop watching all these damn videos. Stop trying to find some inspiration from these people that's trying to tell you to budget. It's not about budgeting. Do you have an additional steady stream of income? You don't? Okay. Work on getting that. And watch. That depression will go away. I promise you, I am a doctor and this is medical advice. What are we talking about? Oh, the reason why you're crying in a corner, you're feeling super anxious right now, because you don't have an additional stream of income that's steady. This episode should be called Steady Stream of Income. No, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just, shit, people ain't got it like that. And it's just, oh, it's just, I just hate when people be like, oh, just buy, shut up. Shut up. It's not about budgeting. It's about, do you have enough money? You don't, right? Okay, cool. Work on that. So if that means networking with your community and seeing, if there's a job available that aligns with your interests and your schedule, shit, even if it doesn't align with your interests. Okay? But nonetheless, that's just what it is. That's what it is. There's this friend of mine who used to be a colleague. She recently left the teaching world, and shout out to her. Excuse me. And she's doing bartending. Well, she's been doing bartending, but now she's solely focused on that. And she has other like entrepreneurial things that she's working on, which is pretty cool. She recently posted how she's making more bartending than she is, or than she was when she was a teacher. And she talks about like, she's obviously not lesson planning. She's obviously not like grading. Like there's not those typical things. Cause obviously, when you're bartending, are you lesson planning? No. But of course they have their specific tasks or deliverables that they're probably doing. I just don't know the verbiage for that. I'm not too familiar. I just know that they're serving drinks and they have to know how to make a drink, a good one at that, and be sociable and be attractive and engage with their I'm about to say audience, but engage with their customers, right? To increase the tips that they would get typically or potentially. Anyway, I say all this to say, I think what was interesting about her post was, because typically whenever I look at something, I always look at the comments. I like to see what people are saying, what they're talking about, what's the consensus here. And what I've noticed is that obviously it's different, sorry, my eyes are super, I don't know if it's allergies. Ooh, child. Okay. Obviously this is not the case in every situation, right? But with every job, it's about understanding there's a whole different lifestyle that you are now obtaining. So if you're someone who is okay with being scantily clad, then bartending is probably a good fit for you. And I'm not saying this is a slight. I'm really not. I'm just saying for someone who may not be comfortable having half of their ass hanging or their titties propped up every night, or to always look done up just to make sure they have enough money coming in from their tips, because the prettier you are, the sexier you are, of course, the more attention you'll get, and that's the goal. And again, I'm really trying, I'm not trying to be offensive here. I want to paint out that it's just, there's always a sacrifice. There's always something that, sure, your goal may be to make more money, but if you're comfortable with this way of making more money, then cool, this may be the path for you. But if you're not, then don't let a post like that motivate you to just kind of up and leave a profession that you're probably not making much money on. If that's making sense to you. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. But I thought it was cool though. Still, I thought it was cool. It's interesting. It's a fun fact. It's not the case in every situation. And I mean, you're always on your feet. Like, there's always pros and cons to everything. But some people may see it as, okay, that's a fine sacrifice for me. I get to shake my ass, listen to some good music. I get to meet new people, and I don't think you could drink on the job, actually. But because I was thinking about that, I'm like, oh, you could probably, but that probably wouldn't be smart anyway. But yeah, again, so you're not depressed, you're broke. That's probably the title. You'll see what the title is, obviously. But you're not depressed, you're broke. You're broke. And I'm saying this in love. In love, with love. You're just broke. Shoot. And we do live in a world, in a society in which we have to make more money. We have to have additional streams of income, especially if you are someone who lives in a household that only includes yourself, you know? So anyway, happy episode 300. You know that guy who went viral for saying he's not gay no more. I'm not gay no more. I feel like saying I'm not broke no more. Or I'm not depressed no more because I'm not broke anymore. Shit. Give it for the 1, 2, 5. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, child, let's talk about J motherfucking Z. Let's talk about J motherfucking Z. J motherfucking Z. Let's talk about J motherfucking Z. Hey, hey, hey. J motherfucking Z. Hey, J. Okay, first I want to give a call to action real quick, because I am thinking about changing the intro of this podcast to make it be an original sound rather than, obviously this is the intro is from an actual song from Beyonce. And from the state of this podcast, you know, I've been kind of critical towards her. I still love her. I still appreciate her and her contribution to the music industry. I think she's amazing. She's such a talent. All of that stands true. All of that is fact. But, you know, I still got to come on here and be very for real, you know? And I think since as of late, the veil of Beyonce, or the spell of Beyonce, and I'm purposely using that word because for quite some time, I was under her spell. It was like she could do no wrong. She was the cover of my phone. Like, you know how you could change the wallpaper on your phone? You know, some normal people would have, oh, me and my boyfriend, or me at the beach, or, you know, something that's real life. I've had pictures of Beyonce as my phone cover for years. My family could tell you this. I haven't had that in a while, though. It's been a while. But prior to this, to the recent years, I've had her as my profile pic on my phone, like my phone background cover. You know how you can see the time? You'll see a picture of Beyonce. Anyway, I'm saying this to say I am thinking about changing the intro song of this podcast to something that's original music from from some of you, hopefully, you know, some creative who would like to create an intro beat for me. I don't know, maybe it could like have some of my verbiage in the intro, right? Maybe some popular things that I've said throughout my podcast. Maybe hello, I don't know, maybe that, or hello. And or you know, when I change my voice like that, something like that could be in it. I want it to sound cool. It could be behind like a hip hop beat. Something fun. So if any of you are creatives and know how to engineer a beat, Fergal's Bay, This is my call to action. If you are interested, of course, no pressure. I don't like pressuring anyone to do anything. But that would be really cool. Because I listen to other people's podcasts, and there's a pod. I'm not going to say the name. I'm trying to, be more business minded when it comes to podcasting now. But there's a podcast that I listen to, and they have a nice, like, original song intro that's creative and fun. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So, yeah. This is my call to action. So if you are interested, please let me know by, I don't know, how can you, I have an email address for the podcast. So, if you actually go to our Instagram page, you'll see there's a button that says email. Just click that button and boom, you'll be in contact with me directly, and then we'll discuss. But yeah, I would love that. So again, if you are interested and you are talented with creating beats, some rap, and including some of the words that I've said throughout this podcast, and you'd like to put that all together as a quick intro, maybe for 15 seconds. It shouldn't even be more than 15. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you're interested, please go ahead and follow. Make sure you are already following the Instagram page of this podcast, Built Like This Podcast on Instagram, and click that email button and we'll be in contact. Okay, so Jay-Z, there's a lot of conspiracy going around since Diddy's exposure. Since Diddy has been exposed for his alleged, I gotta say alleged, even though I thoroughly believe everything that's been said. Even the most recent accounts of that man, Little Rod, I think he was one of the people who works with him, like just in the music industry. I think he has an engineer or producer, one of those. He's come out saying how he was coerced into sexual acts, and he's trying to, of course, find some justice from that. I haven't gone into detail about it because it's just so wild. But let me see if I can find something real quick and we'll talk about it. But apparently he is, I'm not sure if he actually is a homosexual or what. But anyway, producer Little Rod accuses Diddy and his son, I forget, I think it's Quincy or the other one. It may be both of them actually. But he's accusing Diddy of a multitude of things, including the, quote, massive cover-up in a studio shooting, as well as sexual coercion. Music producer Little Rod is accusing Sean Diddy Combs and his son of a massive cover-up of their involvement in a 2022 shooting, according to an amended complaint. The new allegations add to Jones' original lawsuit in which he accuses Diddy of sexual assault and harassment. So for the massive cover-up of the shooting, Little Rod claims that Diddy or his son Justin shot Justin's friend, and this took place in 2022 of September in Los Angeles at a recording studio. He claims that G, I guess is the name of someone who was a part of that area, or a part of that time, identified in the complaint as a 30-year-old named G, in the abdomen. So G was shot in the abdomen near his leg or hip area in a bathroom at Chalice Recording Studio in Los Angeles in September 22. He claims that G has since disappeared. Interesting. What else? The complaint, which included pictures purported to show a bloodied bathroom, said the shooting followed an argument involving Diddy, Justin, and G during a writers and producers camp. So there's that. And as I referenced earlier, he filed an initial complaint stating that Diddy constantly unsolicited and authorized groping upon Lil Rod. So that's not okay. He coerced him into to engage in sexual acts with sex workers, as well as lacing alcohol given to Lil Rod and his guests, which includes underage girls. In addition, the complaint says that Diddy runs a racketeering enterprise, has not, and yeah, so he runs. Child, I think this is much bigger than Diddy. It's a conglomerate of folks who are a part of this society, and Diddy is seemingly, allegedly, a part of it. And he's probably a big face, a part of it as well, of course. But I think the powers that be have already been involved in such behavior that this has allowed Diddy to feel comfortable in this power, or in this, like, just in this in this position that he's in. It seems that he was able to place fear in the hearts and minds of many of the people that work for him and many of his former partners. This seems to be an ongoing experience. And I want to hear from J-Lo. That's what I want to hear from. I want to hear from J-Lo. J-Lo, ho. J-Lo. That's what I want to hear from J-Lo. You know, I think she really knows what took place back in, was it 99, when Shine was held responsible for the killing of a rapper. So wait, was this, I don't know, I'm reading this, I don't know if someone died. Did someone die? I don't remember, but I know Shine went to jail, well, prison actually, for some time, and now he's like alhamdulillah, he's like one of those he's like super religious now. I guess he had to find Christ. Well, I think, not even Muhammad. Shit, he had to find someone else to get through the betrayal of a friend and the takedown of such act. Anywho, this took place, right? It's been in talks as I've been watching different things and reading different things, that the next person on this list of exposure is Jay-Z. Yeah, it's Jay-Z. Now, we don't know what exactly it could be, but we obviously know that Jay-Z and Diddy have been friends, have been partners in the industry. We see plenty of pictures of them together, smiling, laughing it up, drinking together. So I don't think it's far-fetched of us to assume he probably was in attendance at one of these freak-offs. I don't think it's far-fetched of us to assume that he has had probably some type of relation with someone who's underage. You know, and I don't want to go the lazy route by saying, oh, well, look at him and Beyonce. You know, she's, what is it, like 15 or 17 years younger than him. And, you know, such an age gap between them. No, cut that out. I think that's such a lazy response. They started dating, at least what is apparent to us, when both of them, well, when she was more than of age, you know, and I don't think she was just like baby or I don't feel like it's a big deal. Anyway, they have since been able to still be together and create this life for themselves, yada yada yada. But honestly, to add on to that conspiracy, they may no longer be together in the next coming months. Yes, according to my resources. Yes, I have a whistleblower who's on speed dial. No, but according to things that I've watched and been observing lately, there seems to be a distance between them. There seems to be an appearance conjured up of them as more of a business focused relationship and nothing less, or everything less actually, but nothing more than that. This is all alleged. Everything here is all said for entertainment purposes, so please take your medical advice from a doctor. Okay? But I'm here to tell you that Jay-Z may be next. Jay-Z may be next, and I'm here to watch the show. All the world's a stage. So I think at this point, since I've finally been released from this Beyonce spell, I think it's time for all of us to stop idolizing these celebrities, these musicians, whoever it is that we see on TV, that we see on our phones, and that we find so much influence in. You know, it's one thing to appreciate someone's art, someone's talent, someone's way of making you feel happy and hopeful and inspired. I think that's a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. But it's to a point when we are totally losing our common sense and we're moving according to what this stranger, who happens to be very talented and very influential, we're moving according to their beat, to their drum. And I don't feel like that is the best way to do this thing called life. You know, I could appreciate your art. I could appreciate what you are doing in this world, your influence, but, I don't think that is the way to just go about this thing called life. I just don't think so. Okay, but I came across this news of Jay-Z having had a relationship with a woman. Her name is Kathy White. I assume she was a white woman, according to just how her name is. But, I mean, she probably is half white. But from what I found, she is not. She's not a white woman. She is a woman whom Jay-Z has had an illicit affair with years ago during the time of the reveal of Blue Ivy and, you know, the pregnancy that Beyonce had with Blue Ivy. This is all alleged. Okay? But what is coming about? What is coming up in coming up to surface is this situation here that this woman named Kathy White was going to come forward and reveal this relationship, and allegedly she was going to extort Jay-Z, but she's gone. She's gone. Not disappeared, but dead. Passed on. Okay? And there's a lot of mystery surrounding that because initially the cause of death was not listed. It was not shown. It was left blank. And then it was listed as natural. And then it was reported that she had some type of brain aneurysm, which seems to be a trend amongst women who have passed in suspicious circumstances. Kim Porter, remember her? The ex-girlfriend and mother of children shared with Diddy. She died from an alleged brain aneurysm. But come to find out, things weren't as they were portrayed to us. And allegedly, she was coming out with a book talking about her experience in the industry. And though she wasn't necessarily an artist or a producer, but because she was in proxy to Diddy, to Heavy D, and she was the assistant to some of these people, she knows or knew a lot of the secrets to these people and their lives. So I think she probably was killed. She probably was killed, and the convenience of saying brain aneurysm seems to be a trend, or seems to be a convenient, like I said, excuse for someone's passing. You know, maybe there is some type of way to get this written down as a cause of death, and yet that really wasn't the cause of death, right? You know, money talks, right? Money's long. Money can convince a lot of people to kind of do what someone says to do. So I'm going to go ahead and read this quick article from 2011. 2011, okay? And it's wild, you guys. It's wild because as I'm even trying to look up who Kathy White is or trying to find some picture of her, I couldn't find any. And the only picture I think is her is because someone took a screenshot of it and used it as a thumbnail to a YouTube video. But I haven't watched that YouTube video yet. Instead, I just saw that as one of the images listed in Google. Like, there aren't any images of her, just standalone shots, standalone still photos of her on Google. So, okay, that's interesting. So this journalist here, I don't know where this journalist is today. I hope this journalist is doing well and is safe. But this journalist here talks about Kathy White's suspicious death. I don't know if the journalist is a man or woman. Let me see. Does it say who is it by? It doesn't, which is probably the best. Okay, so the journalist says, yesterday I got the news that Kathy Michelle White has suddenly passed away. So she began to quickly investigate what took place. It was initially said that Kathy died from a brain aneurysm. And according to her investigation, the cause of death is uncertain. And later today, we will have it. So, again, this was posted in 2011. Okay. So, apparently, this took place because, like I said, she was going to extort her relationship with Jay-Z. And it obviously didn't pan out too well because of this. And I'm wondering if Beyonce was the one to tell Jay, get rid of her, or whatnot, or, this was the best way to kind of avoid any interruption to the image of their love. Because if we think about the Lemonade album that Beyonce released and how the focus point of it was Jay-Z cheating, and Jay-Z even came on David Letterman talking about how he cheated on Beyonce. There were no details of the cheating. There were no I met someone and this took 2 years from our marriage. Or nothing was materialized from that. We don't know who he cheated with. We all assumed that it was who was it? Some people said Rita Ora. Some people said Gwyneth Paltrow. Some people said that woman that Dame Dash is currently with or no longer with anymore. I think she's the mother of his youngest child. Nonetheless, it seemed like it was a narrative that benefited them immensely because it drove the sales for her album. That was the sacrifice that they decided to make for the success of that album. Now, granted, that album is amazing, but there needed to be some level of concocted media sensationalism, and this was it. Because prior to that, we didn't hear anything about Jay-Z with other women at all. All of that was, if it was done, which it probably was. Look, someone just as rich as Jay, faithful, come on, you got broke niggas cheating. Like, what are we talking about? Of course, there's an understanding. Just don't make me look stupid, right? So it's the same thing with that. But I think this woman, Kathy White, was going to make them look stupid. So I'm saying this to say they wanted to control the narrative. So, okay, let's come out and say that you were cheating on me, and let's act like I was going to leave you and go off and yada, 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 and make it seem like it was recent. Because we all assume naturally, oh, this happened like a month before the album was released, when it's like, no. This could have happened at any point in their relationship. This could have happened before they got married. This could have happened way long ago. Okay? So maybe this happened during the time of Kathy White. And maybe this happened with Kathy White. And that was the energy that Beyonce took from that to create her album. Who knows? But the point here is Jay-Z's next. And I'm watching it, y'all. It's entertaining. Let's not idolize these people. I'm not saying everyone in the industry are demonic witches. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying watch it like a show. Are you not entertained? Watch it like a show. Okay? I'm here to tell y'all. All right, let's move forward. Okay, so there's that. Jay-Z. Speaking of marriage, let's talk about this woman who is planning to marry her longtime AI boyfriend, who is a hologram of a man. Child, this is the world that we are living in. A woman is marrying an AI hologram, ushering in a weird new era for human robot relationships. And as I'm looking at this photo of this woman and her AI man, her AI generated man, she is clearly in the flesh, right? In the 3D. Which one is it? 3D or 4D? I was getting confused. But she's in the flesh. She's leaning to her side. Hands are in her pocket. She's wearing a white hoodie. And who's leaning next to her? None other than her AI man, who's wearing a hoodie, and he has his hands in the hoodie pockets. And it looks like she is leaning on his shoulder, on his imaginary shoulder. Like, she can't feel him, at least not yet, right? The technology hasn't been revealed yet for when that could be a thing. But she's leaning on his shoulder, and he's leaning on her head that's on his shoulder, and it's just like a regular couple. Yo, I wish I could make this up, but this is the time that we're in. Eventually, I don't know how long it'll be when this will be normalized, but it will be. Mark my words. It's freaking creepy. It is. But looking at the title of this article, though, let me read it once more. A woman is marrying an AI hologram, ushering in a weird new era for human-robot relationships. Just the fact that it's saying human-robot relationships make it even that much more creepy, because there is a name for it, right? There is a connection, a bridge between humans and robot in relationship. What? You mean you could be with Alexa for real? Like, that's really weird. So an artist plans to marry an AI hologram. His name is AI Lex. Yes. In a unique ceremony this summer. The AI hologram was trained on data related to Alicia Framus' previous romantic partners. The artist previously had a relationship with a mannequin named Pierre. So clearly this woman is unwell. She has a history of being with people who are not of flesh and bones, who are not human. Yet, she's obviously not stopping. Something about these men out here are just, it's just not enough. What I find to be interesting, though, is they say this AI Lex, he is a mixture of all of the men she's dated previously. Maybe not all of them, but a good amount of them at least. And, she dated someone named Corey, and Corey was very thoughtful, and he would give her gifts every week that really were handmade, and you could feel the love from those gifts. But Corey wasn't ambitious. But Mike was ambitious, and he took her out on trips, but he worked a lot, so they didn't spend too much quality time together. But she had the time of going out and, the lights, the glam, right? So because we can't mix both Mike and Corey together, why not create my own robot of a man? right? Why not put that in this potion and come out a mixture of both Corey and Mike? And I think that's what it is. And I feel like this is a common experience for women who would love to have a little bit of that from an ex and a little bit of that from another ex, put it together, my man, right? Because I've heard women say that. I've heard that that desire vocalized. But to actually go through with it and really be standing on business, as the kids say, with this type of relationship, I find it to be very odd. I really do. So she is a Spanish Dutch artist, which is, that already says a lot, right? Okay. Excuse me. I keep on burping. My God. A Spanish Dutch artist set to marry this AI hologram this summer, with the groundbreaking union ushering in a weird new era of human-robot relationships. Her name is Alicia Framus. She is marrying her holographic partner. I wonder how long they dated. I wonder when she knew he was the one. He was trained from the profile information of her previous romantic partners, according to a press release. The press release said that the unconventional ceremony will take place in the Netherlands, which is already another red flag. The ceremony will feature a unique ritual for the union between a human and an avatar, and guests will be served molecular food. So what? Cells? Like, what are we talking about? That can be enjoyed by both humans and humanoid entities. See? That word, entities, demonic. Look, I come from a Christian background. Some word choices, I feel like some people who are not from that Christian background, they think some of these words are harmless. No. Entities, when an entity is in your house, you better plead the name of Jesus for that entity to get out of your house. Okay? So for them to be attending a wedding that is mixed with humans and humanoid entities, yeah, I think that's very concerning. And I think these people need to run for the hills. Okay? She said that she wants her wedding to represent, quote, a new generation of love, where humans will be in relationships with holograms, avatars, and robots. While the wedding appears to be a form of performance art, Freeman said it poses interesting questions about what a union with a holographic partner looks like. It's interesting how we can get a mortgage to buy a new car, and now we can have a mortgage to buy a new companion. What? And look, I feel like really what's to blame here is the invention of vibrators. That's really the issue. Had it not been for the invention of vibrators, for women feeling like, oh, I don't need a man. Oh, I don't need a man to have sex with. I could have sex by myself. I could find a dick myself that is not attached to a man, that looks like a man's dick, but it vibrates. Oh, it vibrates. Oh, it vibrates so fast. Oh, I could come 5 times in 10 minutes. It's unnatural. But because we are so thirsty for unnatural things in this society, like, we have been made up to feel like we're supposed to do things so fast, or we're supposed to have exposure to things so fast. Like we're missing what it means to be patient, or just wait a bit. You don't need to put your food in the microwave. You could put it in the stove. You could cook another meal. You could have something fresh. But because we live in this hustle bustle society, it's like, how can I get this nut off? How can I get this nut off? Oh my God, I need to get this nut off. Get this nut off. What's the quickest way? I don't have time to foreplay, right? I don't have time for you to kiss my neck. Fuck me now. That's the closest way. So the only solution is what? Is to get a vibrator. That's it. And obviously I'm saying this in the perspective of someone who's for this, right? So please follow along. But that's the problem. That's the problem. What else is the problem? Like, the list goes on. I know men have a version of vibrators, but it's not vibrating necessarily. It's, I don't know. I forget the name, but I've heard men who are in prison who wants to feel the warmth of a pussy, they would get this type of doll and use that doll to masturbate in. There's a name for a Fifi. Is it that? I don't know. Maybe that's a slang term for it. I'm not sure, but y'all know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Okay? So we have these artificial beings and things that are taking the place of human beings, that are messing up the natural order of things. That's why we have young boys and girls thinking that they're not who they are designed to be. That's why we have transgender. Let me get off. Enough, Maxie. Fuck! But that's why we have these things. Like, we've gone too far. Gosh. And look, I love technology like the next person. I really enjoy going on my computer just through my phone. I love, airdropping a file to a colleague. I love the convenience of these things, but I don't know how a line can be drawn. I don't know. We've gone too far. So anyway, let me just see what her wedding registry looks like. Send her a gift. At this point, it's just the way it is now. We're going to get to a point in our conversations where it's like, oh, how long have you two been married? And you're speaking to a human and a humanoid entity. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about, dog? Ooh, child. Anyway, I'll go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for listening to the 300th episode. If you are not subscribed at this point, we're going to fight. We're fighting. Because how dare you? You made it to this point and you haven't been subscribed? You haven't left a positive review? You haven't just said, hey, I listen to this podcast, you should check it out, to a friend? Do it right now. Subscribe to this podcast on YouTube. Leave a positive review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And consider and become a patron on patreon.com/builtlikethis. All the links are in the show notes, in the description box. Find it all there, and make sure you are following the Instagram page at BuiltLikeThisPod. And I will see you all next time. Peace.